Hey guys, welcome back to Dizzle in Motion. Dizzle here again with a follow-up video. After the last video, I kind of went through the pros and cons of what's coming down the line here with the Transportation Freedom Act that's been presented. But, anybody can extrapolate opinions, even though I felt like I was being fairly objective. I got a little criticism that, arguments, whatever. So you know what? I decided to cut this video and bring you straight to the facts. Senator Moreno's bill in its entirety, but condensed. So I have the full 19-page document. I'm going to link it in the bottom of this video if you want to read 19 subtitled document pages, have at it. But from his website, I'm going to put up each section of bullet points. It's a one-page consolidation of each section from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Senator Moreno himself, the author of the bill, so you can make decisions for yourself if, where things go. Of course, I'm going to give my commentary on it. I got my readers on, so you know it's serious. I'm going to be reading stuff as I put it up on the screen to you. But for those of you that are watching us on TV, you're just cruising, you're chilling, we're going to cover the entire National Transportation Freedom Act right now and the next 5 minutes or so. So let's do it. All right, let's get into the video. So as I mentioned in the last video, there's a lot of outgoing support for this right now. I really don't see a lot of negatives to it. Again, you can make your own conclusions from this, but I'm gonna read it right here from the list. These already got, Transportation Freedom Act already has endorsements from Senator Jim Banks, Tim Sheehy, Jim Justice, General Motors, Stellantis, Toyota, National Automobile Dealers Association, the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, American Trucking Associations, and many more. So this is not something to be taken lightly. I think it's all good stuff, but let's get into it. Let's one line item at a time here. So I'm gonna throw them up. This is straight from Senator Moreno. This is not me ad-libbing or making stuff up. Let's go through it. So it's right here. Here's what the whole thing looks like. I'll show you real quick. All right, and now I'm gonna cut that down into sections so you can read along, or you could just listen if you're driving or doing something else. So it says the Transportation Freedom Act. Despite decades of investment and innovation and an ongoing track record of cleaner and more efficient vehicles, American auto manufacturing has been under attack. Inconsistent regulations, foreign competition, and misguided policies from Washington, D.C. are pushing a great industry into a downward spiral of plant closures and job losses. The Biden administration's heavy-handed emissions regulations, coupled with billions in taxpayer-funded electric vehicle subsidies, have thoroughly distorted the marketplace while hurting American workers, consumers, and automakers. Without action, the industry that represents 5% of the GDP and helped build the American middle class will be permanently weakened. So there, he's kind of set the case for all the things we're going to go through right now of why this act needs to be. Simple enough, right? So here we go. Transportation Freedom Act provides a bold pro-America, pro-worker solution to revitalize auto manufacturing and provide fairness and emission regulations. So we'll start with the key provisions here. Number one, support for American auto manufacturing. This provides for a 200% tax deduction for American auto workers and supports and encourages job creation in the U.S. It will ensure that the U.S. remains a global leader in vehicle innovation, design, and manufacture centered here at home. So exactly like I said in the last video, it's basically going to help rebalance the subsidies that mostly and only went actually to EVs over the last few years to go back and encompass gasoline, diesel engines, manufacturing that's done stateside, right? So that's going to create jobs, it's going to create equity in that regard. Next section. Common sense emission standards. Here's looking at you, California. Repeal the EPA's extreme tailpipe rule, which would mandate that 67% of all new cars be electric by 2032, regardless of consumer demand or affordability. This eliminates burdensome emissions rules for heavy-duty trucks, protecting supply chains and working-class industries. It ends arbitrary CAFE fuel economy standards that require manufacturers to build vehicles that consumers simply do not want. It also provides a 180-day window for CAFE standards and greenhouse gas emissions to be replaced with tough but achievable standards reflecting market-ready technology and industry consultation. Current regulatory improvements assume technologies that don't even exist. So yeah, I think we need this. I think this is a good thing. Balance it out. Let's go by facts. We're over-regulating in the minutia for the smog stuff and the clean air stuff, which again, no one's against clean air, no one's against having a good environment, but they take it to the nth degree to where it becomes a financial burden and a bureaucracy and a bunch of stuff that just does not need to take place, that's making it hard to own a vehicle, hard to afford maintenance on a vehicle, hard to keep stuff on the road, especially in the economy that we're in. This just brings us back to a common sense approach to that. Let's go in the next section. One national standard, no more California and other state-by-state waivers. This prevents California and other states from dictating national emissions policy, enforcing costly regulations, which increase the cost of cars for all American drivers. It also revokes California's zero-emission vehicle mandate, ensuring all Americans, not just California politicians, have a say in our country's transportation future. I touched on this again in the other video. I'll put a link in the end of the description so you guys can go see my whole editorial narrative on my takes on these, but we're just sticking to the script right now. And so that's just reinforcing California can no longer do its own thing. It's had the authority as the strictest law of the land in a lot of concepts, and they kind of let them run with it under what they call waivers. So the waivers will be removed, the EPA will be the law of the land again, and federal standards will be federal standards, and the states will not need to decide that they want to do something that's a burden, which is basically extra taxation without representation. It's extra grifting by these organizations and politicians and their subsidiaries that they created out of thin air. So kind of crap, right? And then the last section here, ensuring predictability in regulations. This mandates stable emissions and fuel economy standards from 2027 to 2035, providing a 10-year regulatory roadmap for automakers. For perspective, the average time from conception to certification for a new car takes 7 years. This ensures standards are based on real-world feasibility and affordability, not government mandates disconnected from consumer demand. It requires input from manufacturers, energy producers, and consumers instead of bureaucrats pushing a political agenda. Makes perfect sense to me. Why are we enforcing, again, I understand the green energy programs, the utopia of no pollution, etc. It's not really achievable with the current world that we live in. In fact, it's a burden that's hurting people, okay? So all this is saying is, hey, we're not gonna make you put something on your car or have a manufacturing process in place that's not gonna make a difference and build cars, little shit boxes or whatever that nobody wants. I mean, it's very straightforward stuff, right? And in closing, it just says, the Transportation Freedom Act puts American workers, consumers, and innovation first by strengthening domestic auto manufacturing and ensuring Americans, not Washington, decide what they drive. By restoring regulatory stability, this bill promotes real competition and investment, bringing back the golden age of American automobiles. This bill puts American workers and consumers first by restoring fairness, boosting investment, and ensuring the U.S. leads the world in auto innovation. So there you have it. That is the entirety, read it verbatim, word per word from Senator Moreno, the author of the bill, the act itself that's being presented now to the Senate and Congress and hopefully to the president if it's passed. I don't see a single negative thing there unless you're a grifter or a power-hungry politician. Everything there benefits products being made in America, which means more jobs, right? It means more ability to have equity in the companies of auto manufacturing, and it means less headache, less hoops to jump through, and less expense. I mean, God, look at what's going on just with our auto insurance rates. That's a whole nother video that we'll get into soon because it's just gotten, I mean, you can only say supply chain and other things so many times, right, for buzzwords, but yeah, it's just gotten ridiculous. So you guys let me know what you think in the video. Now you've heard the exact word and not my take on it. Does it change your opinion? Do you think I'm right? Usually. Or do you not care because you don't believe anything's going to happen? You think this is going to be a dud? Either way, leave a comment in the video below. And thanks for watching today. We'll catch you on the next one.